What's up, Leafs Nation? Welcome back to another game preview. I'm Zack Phillips, and today we're going to be taking a look at game number 51 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they take on the Minnesota Wilds here tonight in Toronto. And this one's going to be interesting from a fan perspective, from a lineup perspective, from a matchup perspective, all the way around because you're getting a couple of guys back. You're coming off the heels of Marner. Also adding on to the comments that Matthews made the other day about the fans and the Reeves fight. Could you get a Reeves fight here tonight? Does he have a dance partner? It's a really interesting vibe around this Leafs team. Also following up a loss against the Ottawa Senators on Saturday night. We'll dig into all of that. We'll dig up into the lineups, and we'll get into our best bets, of which we are hot. All a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account at Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's go to our lines and what we're looking at for tonight because we do have a minor adjustment for this game, and that'll start over on the Daily Faceoff where we can see our lineup news, our lineup information, our lineup changes, whatever it is, forward lines, defense, power play, penalty kill, all of that is listed there, including starting goalies as well. But we'll start with the first line and staying intact as it should, and because he has earned himself a spot on that line, Bobby McMann, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner remain together. I don't have really much to add here other than McMahon has been very, very good in any and every position that Craig Berube has chose to throw him into. The guy has been a weapon. He's risen to the occasion. He brings a physical presence. He's got speed. He's got great hands. He can score goals. Like Bobby McMahon just is the real Swiss Army knife here, fitting in alongside Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner yet again for tonight's game. Down to your second line, you got Max Domi, Pontus Holmberg, and William Nylander. You need a lot more from Max Domi. A lot more. I mean, Pontus Holmberg is a guy that we've talked about over and over again, and I think when I look at him in a third line and a fourth line role, I say, hey, I need Pontus to take that next step. You got to have this guy step up and bring more to the plate. When he goes up to the second line, I'm not really looking for him to play out of his abilities. It's more so just, okay, be a guy who can fit in and not be a detriment to this line because he's obviously playing above where he should be anyways. Max Domi is a guy who just has to be better in general, whether it was on the first line, second line, or the third line. I don't really care. He's not brought enough points. He's not brought enough offensive generation to this team this year. I love Max Domi. I think he's a piece that is extremely, extremely valuable, especially come playoff time. And he's a guy you want around here, whether it's in the locker room, on the bench, or just in big situations. Like, I love Max. I love what he brings to the team, the fact that he's here. That being said, there's an element to what do you put up on the board and what are you putting up on your stat sheet, and those things matter, and how are you helping other guys. And right now, it just hasn't been enough. Every time I'm watching Max, it feels like he's maybe gripping his stick a little too tight or trying a little bit too hard to make something happen or to generate something. Or you can see a little bit of frustration build in every now and then where it's like, I'm not scoring a goal, I'm not getting points. Okay, let me go slash somebody or punch somebody in the face, which is stuff I love him doing anyways. But if the other things aren't there, you start to see this fan base get a little squirrely with Max and saying, hey, dude, stop going to the box. You're not doing anything else anywhere, and which I think is part of the frustration that's boiling up with Max Domi. Tonight, another opportunity for him on the second line. Let's see something out of you. Like, what can you create with William Nylander? The guy's able to generate points and score at a high rate. How can you help him? How can you be an effective piece alongside William Nylander? We'll find out here tonight. I hope it's a step in the right direction for him as he's getting more responsibility, getting more looks. But, to this point, it hasn't been too great for Max Domi. Down to your third line here, it looks like we're going to get Max Pacioretty back in the lineup. And that means that you're going to have Jacob Quillen come out. Nikita Grimenkin's still yet to play. Honestly, this is probably the right move with Pacioretty coming back. You remove one of the kids. You get to shake some of the lines up a little bit, move guys around. Minton and Quillen should have never been on that fourth line with Ryan Reeves. No disrespect to Reeves. That's just not the combination of people that you want. Having Pacioretty back allows you to move guys around a little bit better. Putting Minton back with Robertson, back with Max Pacioretty there, gives him a little bit of veteran leadership around him. It gives him a guy who can score on either side. It gives him a physical presence in Max Pacioretty. And Fraser Minton has been really good himself there. He's been a great two-way guy who's been responsible defensively and able to generate things moving up the ice with the puck. He's been able to carry it up. He's been able to get in on the cycle game. He's using his physicality to his advantage and his strength to his advantage there. He's been really good, but it was just never going to work with him, Quillen, and Reeves. Like, that was a terrible line from the get-go. They get sewered. Quillen gets a little bit banged up with the knee thing. Like, the whole thing was a disaster from start to finish on Saturday night, and something I wish could have been avoided even going into that game. Back to normal here, back to a properly positioned spot for these guys with that lineup. Then you're going to have your fourth line here, Steven Lorentz, David Kampf, and Ryan Reeves. Minnesota is a team that has a partner for Ryan Reeves. And this is all narrative, and it's not something that I think is going to happen, but something that I'm monitoring here tonight. You had Reeves go Olivier against Columbus the game last week. It goes 1:20 into the first period, and the fans are not really that into it. You know, you hear, okay, the bench is fired up, the players were fired up, but the crowd wasn't. And Matthews calls them out. And then they lose 5-1 to Columbus. And then Marner doubles down on the comments. And I think at first people, and myself included, were like, okay, I'm fine with the call out. I get it. And then the more we think about it, and then it gets brought up again on the weekend, I feel like people kind of start to turn and say, you want us to be involved for 60 minutes? Why aren't you? You want us to show up and be loud for 60 minutes? Why don't you show up for 60 minutes? Why don't you show up on time? Why don't you close out games? And then it started to get a little bit testy for Leafs fans over the last last few days regarding a full 60. Ryan Reeves wants the fans involved. He wants the bench involved. Does he go out here tonight in an effort to spur on the fan base and say, let's see what you've got and go fight somebody? Do the fans get on this team quickly because they're pissed off because you called us out? I'm really interested to see from an isolated Toronto perspective, let alone how they match up and play against Minnesota, how this goes. Like, what does Ryan Reeves decide to do here tonight that says, let's get things going, let's get this building rocking? Does he decide to do that? Like, there's a lot of questions for me that don't even have to do with the actual play of this team, but is strictly like the players against the fans here tonight, in a sense. How are you going to handle this? How is this fan base going to react when you guys go out there and lay a stinker in the first 5? Or what if you come out rocking in the first 5? What if they shut up just to say F you? This is going to be an interesting one because the last thing you ever want is team versus fan base, but bringing it up in the first place kind of rubs some people the wrong way. Started to die off, and all of a sudden they go and do an outdoor practice, and everyone was like, yeah, we might as well make comments about this. I don't know if that was the best move heading into a home game here against the Minnesota Wild here tonight. That's all you got for your forward lines. We'll dig into the defensive pairings in just a second, but before we do, quick reminder, if you guys are looking to take a vacation, you haven't headed out anywhere, but maybe you don't want to miss out on hockey action, the best way to do so would be with a Nation vacation, March 20th to 23rd. You head on over to nationgear.ca. You can check it out. Flight packages, non-flight packages. The Leafs Nation team is heading down to Nashville. Nick Alberga, Carter Hutton, who will be on the Leafs Nation After Dark here tonight, Jay Rosehill, myself, producer Vic, David Pagnotta, as mentioned, will all be down there in Nashville. We're going to do a live podcast. We're going to do a winery tour, heading over to Carter Hutton's bar, as well as heading over to the Leafs Preds game and having some special guests pop by some of the live podcasts. You don't want to miss any of it. Make sure to head on over to nationgear.ca now so you don't miss out on this amazing opportunity. Let's head on over to the defensive pairings here now and see what we've got for tonight. Basically, the exact same, so we won't spend too much time on it, but just quickly to take a brief overview, we see over on Daily Faceoff here right now. First and foremost, Morgan Rielly, Jake McCabe, first pairing. We heard Craig Berube say, it's looked a little bit better even in a small sample size. I think Jake McCabe makes anybody look better. It was interesting hearing Bruce Boudreau on Leafs Morning Take the other day, and he was talking about Morgan Rielly and not adapting to anybody's system so far. He still plays Morgan Rielly's hockey, which is kind of funny to think about his lifespan here in Toronto and what's gone on because, it's pretty true. Whether it was pre-Mike Babcock and then to Mike Babcock and then into, Sheldon Keefe and now Craig Berube, he's pretty much played the same with everybody. And this is probably the most defensive style of hockey that we've seen or that we're used to with this team, or the biggest change that we're anticipating. Morgan Rielly never has really adapted to it. He's not really gotten fully immersed in the defensive style of play, and it's kind of starting to show. It's really bothering some people here in Toronto at this point. Jake McCabe is a guy who can likely fix some of that or calm some of it down, but that's kind of where we're at on this pairing tonight. OEL, Chris Tanev remain together. No comments. I mean, love Tanev, love OEL. Think these guys can be very effective. OEL also putting up some points lately. I mean, we complain about this D-core not being able to get on the board, not being able to get on the stat sheet. OEL is finding a way here now to score some points. Simon Benoit, Philippe Myers will be your final pairing for tonight. I think this makes sense. You're trying to find a guy between Benoit, Myers, Timmins until you probably reach out into the trade market at the deadline. This is kind of what you're going to end up with, the rotation between those three guys in the bottom pairing. Whoever's hot, somebody plays a bad game, guess what? You're out. So right now, Myers, Benoit, they will be your 5-6 for tonight. I mean, Philippe Myers is a guy who actually was playing pretty well and then had an absolute stinker of a game against the Montreal Canadiens in the first period. And I mean, despite the team climbing back to win that game with 7 unanswered, Philippe Myers was not having himself a good night, to put it lightly. So he ends up with a tough one, comes out of the lineup, goes back in. He's been okay since. It's a guy you want to see shoot the puck because he's got a bomb and hit people because he's a big body and can play physical. If he does those things, I think people in Toronto will be happy. Down to your power play unit here tonight, you have a switch. One switch. That would be Max Pacioretty in for Max Domi as of right now. Bobby McMahon, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and Max Pacioretty. Those are your 5, again, with the 5 forward unit. Sticking with that. Your second power play unit here tonight, Robertson, Minton, Domi, OEL, and Morgan Rielly. The 2 defensemen on the second unit. Domi gets bumped down there. You get the kids, Robertson and Minton, staying together. So those are your lineups for this Maple Leafs team here ahead of this game tonight against the Minnesota Wild. Again, an interesting one from a fan perspective. I'll say that. Over on the goaltending side, Philip Gustafsson will play for the Wild. Believe Joseph Woll will get the start. I mean, he's had a couple of days off since Saturday against Ottawa. Anthony Stolarz is nearing a return. Cannot see why you would throw him into this game for no reason against the Wild. Hold him. Give him a break. We're also almost at the 4 Nations. Maybe you don't want it to extend past that because once you get past 4 Nations, then you're looking at even extra time off here. You got about a week to go until we get to that. Maybe he gets in a game Saturday. Maybe gets 2 games in ahead of the 4 Nations tournament. But I don't see a reason to just jam him into this one here tonight. Let Joseph Woll play. He's been looking good. Looked good on Saturday night against Ottawa there as well and kind of rebounded from a couple of so-so games in between there, but back on track for Joseph Woll. Those are your line combinations for tonight. Let's now get to our best bet, which, I mean, whether or not you're talking about the team 500 over the last 10, but best bets, we are heating up and we are well into the positive. So let's get to those. A presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, NATION. That's code NATION, NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Okay, going over to the Bet365 page here tonight, we're going to go specifically right into Minnesota-Toronto. I'm going to follow it up with a best bet that I gave out the other night and followed through for us. I think it was 2 days ago we did this best bet, and it cashed in the first period, that is. So we're going to jump back into a similar section, but we go player props. We're going to go down to the shots on goal. And tonight, we're going William Nylander over 3.5 shots on goal plus 105. Look, the last time we bet this one, it was plus 135. We were getting an exceptional number. Tonight here, we're just going to dial this one down. We're going to go to a half unit on it. Pays you $52.50 if you bet $50. Profit of $52.50. William Nylander over 3.5 shots on goal plus 105. The thinking kind of remains the same. It's not as good of a number as we got last time, but the whole market itself has adjusted, and this is still one of the best prices that you're getting out there right now. So when you look at that, you look at the numbers compared to the market, we're already getting a good deal, and I think the concept of it all kind of remains the same when you look at a Nylander shots on goal prop here. Who's he playing with? Max Domi and Pontus Holmberg. Okay, well, let's first go to this. Is Max Domi a guy who's shooting the puck? No. Berube told him to shoot the puck more. That means he goes from 0 to like 1 or 2, and people are like, attaboy, Max. We got more shots on goal here tonight, which ultimately he's a playmaker. He's a disher, so that's fine. And you got William Nylander. This guy can put up basically as many goals as he wants as long as he decides to show up. Pontus Holmberg, the guy in the middle, is he the guy shooting the puck? No. So if that line is going to do anything, it's probably William Nylander, who's got to shoot and be relied on to score goals, which he's got no problem doing. If you ever seen his Twitter bio, it says, "Give me the puck," smiley face. Yeah, give me the puck, smiley face. The guy wants the puck on his stick. He wants to have takeover factor. He wants to shoot and generate and score goals. With 2 guys on his line who don't really shoot the puck, I'm going with a William Nylander over 3.5 shots on goal at plus 105 here tonight on Bet365. $50 on this one. Profits you $52.50. And if you're wondering how things have been going, record-wise, not pretty. 18 wins, 35 losses on the season. But you want to talk about money and how much we're up here right now? Up $2.88. If you've been betting with our unit sizes and following along exactly how we've been doing it, you would have profited $288 right now through 50 games on the season. So make sure to follow along, gamble responsibly, bet within your means, make sure you manage your bankroll properly. If you have, then you're up with us here. That is all for our game preview here today. If you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. We're back for game previews. We've got Leafs Morning Take Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And on top of that, Leafs Nation After Dark, following every Maple Leafs game, going live right here on this channel to react to what just happened, take answers and questions from the chat, see what you guys are saying, take callers from the chat, which is another thing we've been doing a lot here lately, seeing what you guys have to say. You want to give your opinions? Call into the show and let us know. And tonight we will be joined by Carter Hutton on the program as well to help us break this one down. That is all for our game preview. Drop your predictions below. Can't wait to see those. Can't wait to see you guys in Leafs Nation After Dark chat. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.